Hey, this is Susan Blanton with the Create Happy Now podcast, and welcome back to the Intuitive Masters of Happiness series. This is the 15th episode of 20. We have 5 more after today. We have been exploring what your intuition is, how to connect with yours, and all the magic that happens when you strengthen your intuition. So make sure you stay tuned every Wednesday as we feature one guest interview from the Intuitive Masters of Happiness Conference held back in February of 2023. We had such an awesome turnout that we wanted to make it all available for everyone, to make all 20 interviews available to you in an audio version on the Create Happy Now podcast and YouTube channel. Now, if you want to watch the interviews rather than just listen to the audio version, you can download all 20 interviews today to have in your own library for $27.95, which is $20 off the VIP access package that was offered in February. You can go to my website, createhappynow.com, and go to the events tab to get your download today. Now, before I get to my next guest, for those of you who struggle with quieting your mind and want to be able to do it in an easier, more creative way and learn how to start your journey to happiness, abundance, peace, and purpose, and say yes to life every day, I want to remind you that I have a new meditation app coming out at the end of this summer that is designed to do just that. I also have a new meditation YouTube channel. Both are called Create Happy Meditations. If you would like to be on the waiting list for the app, go to my website and click on the meditation app tab and sign up today. Last week, Michelle Mearport and I discussed how to declutter your life from the inside out and how to get out from being stuck by using your intuition. My next guest is Brian Baird. Brian serves through the Effective Way and $1 Million Feeling as a leader guide, corporate and business coach, speaker, author, media host, social justice and environmental advocate, wellness advocate, and his favorite role, father. Here is the director's cut getting you down to his juicy wisdom about why developing your own value pillars to live your life by helps your communication with your intuition. Wow, you got a lot of roles going on there, Brian.
All loving roles.
Absolutely. Well, I want to welcome you today to be a featured expert here, and I'm excited to talk about your theme, the themes that people have in their life, and how to develop one, and why it's really imperative to kind of develop one and have one in place. Can you share with us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Just so you know, the $1 Million Feeling, for those who got confused by the intro, is a subsidiary of the Effective Way. So one of the things, we were actually probably just off of a whole bunch of people having made and then maybe already set aside their New Year's resolutions by now. And one of the reasons why that happens is because it's kind of an artificial construct to go ahead and sort of say, here's my New Year's resolution, and then suddenly you think you're going to change your entire life forever based on some arbitrary date, some arbitrary, maybe something that's important to you, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get to the finish line. In fact, I don't know, something like 85% of all New Year's resolutions are pretty much toast by the end of the first month.
Right.
So one of the things that I would offer people is not just as a New Year's resolution, but to sort of get that progress in your journey that you want. And it doesn't matter what your desires are or what your goals are per se, because if we don't operate with a certain posture in our journey, then those goals will be, tossed around on the ocean, so to speak, based on whatever the circumstances are. So what I like to encourage people to do is to actually live by a theme. And then everything else will fall in place according to that theme. And it has to be a theme that resonates with them. It's something that really means something for them and so on. And you and I talked offline a while back about a friend of mine who had many years ago, about 10 years ago, came to me and said, I'm going to live my life like I'm being followed around by a film crew. And I even remember at the time how much like, whoa, that seems like an awesome load, like so much
Pressure.
almost like pressure in prison like thing. He goes, no, not particularly. What I'm looking to do is make sure that I'm always doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
So that was really powerful. And knowing about his journey has turned out to be is that by living that way, he has attracted so much more talent and quality relationships and a host of other things in his journey that were not always available to him before. So it was kind of an eye opener for me at the time, based on some of the other directions I had been going, that maybe thematically living is a very important aspect to who we are. And one of the reasons why that's important too is because people suffer from situational morals or situational ethics or situational values, whatever the case may be, because I may not lie today, but I might get in trouble. I better lie now. It depends on what you're doing. So in his particular case, lying was no longer an option because it would all be on record.
Right. Yeah, you're going to be found out.
So his core values became present by the theme he adopted. And he was able to determine whether or not his core values were fluid or they were fixed or more firm. So the other way I look at this thing is this: what if there's something you want to accomplish? Let's just say I'm married. My spouse has even maybe already told me I'm no longer attractive. That's stuff that happens in the bedroom or in other aspects of the relationship. And I don't want to be like that anymore. I don't want to feel that feeling anymore. So one of the things you can do is say, okay, I'm going to set a goal for weight loss, or I'm going to do whatever the case may be. But we all know New Year's resolutions don't work. So what if I thematically said, I am a fit person? Not going to be. I am a fit person. And everything I do is going to support my fitness. And then you end up deciding what is going to fit that framing for you and what doesn't fit. So that's where I look at the idea of people setting goals should be based on the theme they live by, not setting the goal and then trying to figure out how to stick to the goal. Develop the theme that you can live with. Develop the posture of who you think you are in your best framing and just be that person.
Right. It's sustainable. Right.
It's extremely sustainable. Plus, it gives you clarity on all those things. Suddenly your goals become more clear, or if you didn't even have goals start to fall into place because you start to live by this posture or theme for who you are, not who you want to be, who you are. Just say to myself, we've all heard manifestation is like just saying what you want to the universe and getting it. And I'm saying, nah, it's a little bit more than that. It's saying, and it can't be very similar, but it's saying my posture, my theme, and my manifestation are linked, and I am now that manifestation. Not going to be, I am now that manifestation. So if you want to be a kind person, that's it. That's your theme. Right. If you want to be a person with more quality relationships, that's your theme. Everything will start to fall into place.
That's so powerful. It's so powerful. And, it could be things that you do want to become more like. You've noticed it in yourself, but, once you start focusing and going, I really want to adopt being more compassionate. Then just say, okay, I'm a compassionate person. And so then you're going to start seeking things that where you can show compassion and then it's going to open up more things going both ways. You're going to be receiving compassion. You're going to be giving compassion. It's just going to be, that's going to be a huge pillar in your life. And you don't have to have just one, right?
No, I would recommend not piling them all on at once, but yeah, you can have multiple themes. So some of my core work is about helping people who are this fragile egoed, highly reactive energy and helping them become aware and more responsive, taking more ownership in their journey. It's very challenging for somebody who's used to drama and upheaval and constant just automatic reaction to something, visceral reaction to things, to sort of shift into that place. And what if they just said, I am an aware person? What if they just adopted this framework for their journey? I am now an aware person. And it suddenly helps them see their reactivity, helps them see that they have been constantly connecting themselves to drama, and start to figure out ways to pull themselves out of that or release themselves from that, so that they can go into that place of being aware where our growth and our journey work really begins.
Yeah, and it also helps establish boundaries as
Absolutely.
well. Because if someone's trying to tip you off of this theme, you're going to go, I'm sorry, that doesn't align with me. So I'm not going to be able to take part of whatever it was that was going to compromise your theme, right?
Absolutely.
So how would this strengthen your ability to follow your intuition and recognize synchronicity in their life that
Well,
helps it more flow?
that's a loaded question. And somewhere I got it like this, is that we all know the phrase, people should trust their gut.
Yeah.
I actually quasi disagree with that statement. And I say quasi, meaning there are aspects of it that are 100% true. You trust your gut. That depends on what is in your gut. If I'm living a reactive, fear-based, drama-induced life, my gut is not going to be very good at telling me stuff.
And it might be that that's your fear in your mind.
Exactly what it is. It's fear that's now I'm calling my gut, and I'm gut checking everything with fear, as opposed to gut checking things with love and respect and honor and all these other constants on the loving side of the equation. So, so when you're living inside of a theme, you start to realize that some of the fear-based stuff, whether it's in your head or other aspects, which it's almost always in our head, right? But it's like fear can arise in other things.
Yeah.
If we are learning how to navigate our journey in our theme so that we can adhere to that theme in a healthy way, we start to realize we can release those fear-based things and start embracing those things that are love-based. And in some sense, I'd like to even talk about the fact that the fear thing, as we discussed, or you noted, was kind of commonly in our head, and then there's a lot of truth in the fact that fear is not an emotion that we normally carry around with us in our gut. It's just that's where we think we're getting it from, because the brain and the gut are very, very connected. But when we are, the journey of our lifetime, as the Dalai Lama has said, was going from your head to your heart. And that's even showing up in various religious scriptures that are out there as well, that from your head to your heart is a very important aspect of the journey. So we don't ever get 100% of the heart. We don't always though want to stay 100% in the head. We need to find this harmony between these things that take place, because fear has its place. If somebody points a gun at you, it doesn't mean stand there and go, I love you. It means you should do something. Right. So yeah, fear has its place. What we don't want to do is we don't want to be living in the prison of fear. And by having a theme, it gives us the best options for having a life that's not a prison of fear, a life that's actually a thriving, loving experience. Right.
And there's so many different themes out there that you can explore to find what resonates with you, what's your true authentic self, what feels like that's the path. And you can pivot and you can adopt more and more. But, like say their theme is adventure, right? Mm-hmm. So they want to be a digital nomad and just go around the world and be free and just live from place to place. And, maybe they're a vlogger. And so then opportunities are going to arise that take them to the next place and the next place. And they meet interesting people. I mean, then that adventure continues to expand, right?
Right.
Or maybe it's philanthropy. That's maybe they have the ability to do that, and so then they meet more and more people and help raise money for, different organizations and nonprofits. And, maybe they might have speaking engagements about it. I mean, it just, then they end up getting in that world, and their life is around that. But if you're just like, well, it'd be nice if I did that, but you're not going to end up doing it unless that's one of your
Well,
themes. That's your pillar. That's
yeah,
your
I guess if you
awesome.
wanted the couch potato theme, that's what you'll experience. But this,
Right.
and there may be call for when you're doing, maybe you're in a healing place, there may be a theme of quiet solitude that may carry you for a while. But I don't think any theme should be the only theme, and I don't think any theme should necessarily be a lifetime thing, because that may feel very constricting all by itself. So I think it's a fair enough you can experiment with different themes as you've gotten maybe more enmeshed and more ingrained in a theme that you've been living by, that maybe you can now let go of the theme because it's now already part of you.
Yeah.
Grab onto a new theme or develop a new theme that serves and supports you in your journey and allows you to grow into that until you maybe say, I want another theme. And then eventually you'll start adding multiple themes that will end up serving you in extraordinary ways.
Right. And I think it's good to take inventory, maybe ever so often, maybe every year, not
Mhm.
necessarily to make a new resolution, but maybe to drop things that are no longer working for you.
For sure. Well, that all happened with themes anyway. When you're working on a theme, you're going to start to go, that doesn't fit the theme.
Right.
I have to let go of that. I have to let it go. There may be some things that will show up that are fear-based. Like letting go of things can be very uncomfortable and sometimes have a fear attached to it, if not always. And and having a theme that you're dedicating yourself, your journey to, allows you to go, well, that doesn't serve me anymore. I have to let it go. So, and the other thing is, you had said something before about when you have a theme, then the opportunities become more clear that pass through your journey, as opposed to just being on the couch. If you're a couch potato watching TV, you're going to miss all the opportunities as you go by, not just because you're sitting on the couch, because you just don't recognize them. Somebody could knock on that door and say, I've got something for you. And you're going to go, no, I'm watching this TV show.
Right.
So what happens is when maybe the TV show is your theme. So when you're living by your theme, there's a scientific thing called reticular activation. Many people already know this term, but materially what that means is that the theme now puts pictures or visions in our head, and we start to live according to that search, the reticular activation. And when something latches onto our theme or the vision that's attached to the theme, we will start to go, oh, that's something I need to look at because it might be tied to enhancing my theme, making my theme more rich, more colorful, more thriving oriented, more loving oriented.
Exactly. Exactly. I have been there where I could go in two different directions. I could play victim and be a burden
Mm-hmm.
and have, get to the point where I'm going to have to be taken care of. Or I could decide I want to create the best version of myself. And I did the latter. And that's always going to be a work in progress. But it really definitely opened up opportunities for me, left and right. Had I gone the other direction, it would painted a very much more bleak picture. But it was all of me making that choice of what my theme was going to be, and I'm so grateful that I made the right choice, because it's definitely um, been a lot more rewarding for sure. Just in places I've been, people I've met, feeling better, healing things that have helped me on my journey, finding different ways to eat and live by, and attitudes. And so your method, what you're talking about, really is definitely an awesome method, idea.
So I would like to offer, like, for example, the theme I live by, one of the themes, the core theme, if you want to call it that, I live by is that I am um, poised to positively touch the lives of countless people. That I am this influencer of people's journeys in a positive way. Not a helper or a, maybe a guide is a better word. But my posture, my theme is to positively touch the lives of everybody I reach and help them reach other people positively as well. And when I say countless, I have all kinds of attached things that go to that are now part of my vision and mission that goes with it. But just by virtue of saying, I am this positive influencer, I am not going to be, I am. Not that I wasn't already in some ways poised to do that, but it created the clarity
And the
of
focus.
what my daily work should be like. Because how easy it is to say, I don't feel like doing that today. Now, sometimes a mental health day is important, and you could say that supports my theme.
Yeah, right.
But what happens is just like, I'm a little tired and I don't feel like doing that today. That statement may not fit my theme. And then if anybody wants to know why a theme is so important, is I believe that our happiness, our joy, is connected to our freedom, which is connected to our growth. And in order to grow, you have to have something that stretches you. And the theme is the perfect stretching tool.
Oh, absolutely. That's just so profound. It really is. And I think more and more people are trying to seek clarity in what their purpose is. Why are we here? What am I doing here? Instead of just being reactionary to life and actually creating their life and just kind of figuring out, well, what do you enjoy? What do you love? What emotions do you want to have? And through what actions on your part will get you there? And what do you enjoy receiving? It's just basically getting to know yourself on a more intimate basis, right?
Well, think about the thing is how many people have you met in your coaching work where people have the dreams have been squashed out of them? Just the patterns keep coming to them. They're just overwhelmed and worn out, burnout, whatever the case may be. And they just no longer have, and they, even if you ask them, what do you dream of? And they go, nothing. How many people go through that? Why is that? Why is it that when we ask something that seems so, because we have already been doing the journey work, we seem like, yeah, I know exactly what I want. I know very much what I want, or I'm very much able to identify some of the things I want. Some people can't see any of that or are very, very low. Like part of it is they don't even think they deserve it. So why even mention a dream if you don't think you deserve it? So one of the beautiful things about a theme is it starts to, it puts you in the middle of a framework that allows you to start exploring something other than a prison or a stuckness or the very things you were just talking about. So I can't, being in a theme isn't going to get you completely to any finish line. It's just a great way to begin the journey on anything and if all I want to do is not be unhappy, you need a theme. If I want to be happy, you need a theme. If I want to be, lose weight, get yourself a theme. If I want to have better quality relationships, have a theme. Don't worry about the goal of having better relationships. Get a theme that will make you feel the person that you should be, that you want to be.
One theme that I adopted many years ago after my divorce was to find what's going right rather than what's going wrong.
Right.
And I mean, I'll still catch myself complaining about something, but I notice that the more I complain about it, the more I get more of that to complain about. But the more I seek things that are going right, then I start seeing more and more things that are going right.
Right.
So that is definitely an easy theme to adopt. I mean, you have to catch yourself, but um, it it just makes things a little bit easier no matter what other themes you adopt, because then you're going to be going more towards a positive attitude towards things than focusing on the negative or victimhood or oh, this is such a bad day. Well, stop thinking about how bad the day is. What's going right? I mean, I was at a point in my life where there was lots of things going wrong. And I just said, I have to start thinking about, okay, what's going right? Well, I had a roof above my head. I had food to eat. I had my children that I could love on. I had family that would support me if needed. And I just went from there. I happened to have a job, even though I was financially struggling at the time. Did have a job. I had a college education. I mean, I just started going, oh, I actually have a lot of things that are going for me. But sometimes you just have to go, I've got air to breathe. I've got, you know, I live in a safe environment, or whatever you want to find, and just let that grow. And then once you make that habit, it just, you're creating habit, and things get to go a little bit easier, and you're going to find more and more things that are going right for you rather than just having to find them. They start happening.
Mhm. So, so what you're telling me is that one of your initial themes was to grab on to I am positive.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you eventually added I am grateful.
Yes,
Think about it.
absolutely.
These are good foundational themes. So I like to, the other thing is we maybe shouldn't grab onto the top end of our aspirations as a theme until we're maybe grounded in some basic themes like I'm empathetic, I am kind, I'm compassionate, I am loving, I am positive, I am grateful, I am forgiving, there's a host of other things that we can to incorporate as themes in our journey. Um, and one of the things I like to do is think about starting with, I just mentioned it before, is starting with I am aware, because then you get to figure out what the other themes are as they develop. So, and it could be I'm aware first, then I am forgiving, then I am grateful, then I am positive, and those could be natural progressions and themes. And you don't necessarily have to throw out the I am aware. You just let that be the the bottom rung on the ladder, and just keep on adding themes as you're going through the course of your journey. So they all support each other. So anyway, those are just simple things to start with, and most important is even coaches need coaches. So everybody should grab onto somebody who will help them, maybe even tighten up their understanding of their theme, help them, I don't want to use the word accountable, but help them figure out what happens when thematically they miss the day. As much as I consider myself a positive, patient, loving, compassionate, empathetic person, and empathy is probably one of the things I work on more regularly than most. I still sometimes am in traffic and feel like, you know, that then you just sit back and go, nope, I'm a patient person, or nope, I am compassionate. I don't know that person's story, or whatever the case may be. We're human beings, and part of this whole thing is learning.
I always started out saying, like the first time that someone let me in traffic, I just started saying, "Oh, everybody always lets me in traffic."
Right.
Always, and I every time someone would let me in, "Oh, everybody always lets me in." And now that always happens. And I hardly ever get cut off
Mm-hmm.
or someone doesn't let me in. Um, and so when you just start noticing things, accentuate them. If something goes your way once, go, that always happens. And
Right.
there's some other themes that I adopted. So every time I go to drive through, I'm always really, hi, how are you? To the person who's taking my order. Or I go to the grocery and, I'm checking out like, hi, how are you? They're human. I mean, how many people go through their line just don't care?
Right.
Um,
Well,
and
I think that's like I am relationships.
mhm,
And you can't build a relationship with somebody you just treat as a robot.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, treat people like you would like to be treated. If you were sitting there going, working as a clerk and someone comes through your line, wouldn't you like it if they lit you up and said, hi, how are you doing today?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So,
So
just try on
we
a few
could we could
things
do
and
this.
see how they
We could do
feel,
this all
right?
day long.
I know,
We could do
I
this all day
know.
long. You
So,
could get,
Brian,
but find a theme that works for you, and then build
yes,
on.
absolutely. So, Brian, tell us what you've got going on. How can they get in touch with you?
I think it's easiest if people just go to milliondollarfeeling.com and we get uh, just find a bit more about how I serve. There may be I do shows and podcasts that may be perfectly good places for people to learn. There's no cost to doing that. If they want to have an advanced conversation, they can just schedule a chat with me, and we figure out what I can do to support them on their journey. Um, and just bear in mind, since my goal is to make everybody's, literally billions of people's lives better, whatever I can do to serve somebody who can serve others is fantastic.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for joining in today and this incredible insight to develop a theme for your life or multiple themes to just adopt and see how they really can improve your life in so many different ways. And I really appreciate you sharing that to us. So thank you again.
It's my pleasure. Love to see how everybody else is speaking today and see what they're offering in terms of advice and knowledge. And I'm looking forward to coming away with some valuable takeaways.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Create Happy Now podcast. Please be sure to subscribe, and if you are watching on YouTube, hit that notification bell. If you have a topic to suggest, please leave a comment below. Catch the Create Happy Now podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Audible, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, and Podchaser. Check out other YouTube videos on the Create Happy Now YouTube channel. And if you want more, check down below for resources, courses, and events, or go to www.createhappynow.com.